Hello, good evening, and welcome to this session on discovering your leadership gift. This session will be the concluding session on this particular series, although there's a lot more to say on um, personal leadership. So, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to um, wrap this up at this point and then come back to it in the coming weeks. So, specifically, this evening, we are discovering something that I think is so important to every aspiring leader or everyone who believes that uh, who is so keen on being all that he or she was born to be. By the way, leadership is genderless. Both men and women are equally born leaders, and they have the leadership gift inside of them. So tonight specifically, I'm going to be talking on the power of your leadership gift. Before I move forward, I'm a bit tempted to go slightly backwards to what we were saying last week, or no, that was a fortnight ago, and just register a thought before I proceed. If you happen to have your note or your iPad or whatever you used in writing, I would probably encourage you to write notes. Although this session is being recorded live and get a chance um, to replay the session that is live at the moment. So whatever you feel most comfortable, please do. And it might also interest you that a few people are joining us from around the world. So you might find that a few people are coming and seeing a few names in there. So if you feel like saying hello, you can always use the chat button that is to the top right hand corner is the first tab right under the webinar jam icon. And you can always just drop us a note and tell us where you're calling from, and just say hello to either myself or to every other person on the webinar. So I'm going to just proceed straight away and move back a bit. There's something I wanted to talk about very briefly. I said 2 weeks ago that leaders decide the destination of followers, and that can be that's so true, because even the greatest leader of all time mentioned a statement. He said, if the blind lead the blind, both of them end up in the ditch, which means the destination of the blind that's been led by the blind is the ditch. So pretty much the leader, whoever is the leader, determines where those who are led end up in. Now, I did mention again that leadership is about discomfort. It's about movement from the present to the unfamiliar. And discomfort comes because the heart of the natural man likes the familiar. So to move on to the familiar, it talks about discomfort, talks about apprehension because you're unsure. So that's why we say that leadership is about discomfort. It's about moving from what we are used to what we've not yet experienced, but that's possible. That's why every leader, they live with their eyes in the future. They're always seeing something that is not in the present. For people who are accustomed to say church environment, you call that faith. So naturally, leadership, a leader is somebody who is full of faith not in the present, but faith in the future. So leadership is not really about enjoying experiences, but about creating those experiences. It's about solving problems. It's about transforming environment, systems, people. And, that begins by a word or by a question. And that question is, why? The moment you begin to question the present, then an alternate future is about to be battered. So it's about saying, wow, should we always have it this way? Is something else possible? Why is it this way? So now you'll be wondering, why are we talking about leadership? I think I'm just happy being a follower and just, enjoying my life. Because to be honest, leadership is expensive. Leadership can be difficult because it is easier to be led than to lead. Someone who's been led does not need to worry, it just needs to follow. But someone who is leading must have a sense of a destination, must believe that that destination is possible, and must be so inclined to get in there, and also needs to prove or to show to the people who are conversant with the present that that future is possible and is better. So why then should you think about leadership? Well, when the wise keep quiet, the voice of fools will ring loud. When the righteous, when righteous leaders keep quiet, only the voice of wickedness is heard. When righteous leaders keep quiet, injustice rules the land. When righteous leaders keep quiet, the city will be destroyed. Where there is no voice of reason, foolishness abounds. When righteous leaders keep quiet, they do the earth disservice. In other words, you don't have the option. You can't afford it. You can't say, I'll just keep quiet and just watch it. No, you are doing the world a disservice. When men sleep, enemies plant tares among wheat. The righteous don't have to be many. They only need a strong, united voice. It's been proven time and time again that true change don't happen with a great number of people. It always happens with just a small, committed number of people. Now, let's talk about leadership essentials very briefly as I round up this particular section of the presentation. The leadership journey begins with personal leadership. You know, you've been hearing me say personal leadership over and over again. As a matter of fact, I will say it almost at every opportunity that we get to present to one another, because that is the root of leadership, as we will see in the coming slides. Personal leadership focuses on the inside-out approach to change. Don't forget, I said that every leadership act is about change. So personal leadership itself focuses on the inside out. In other words, it is a change that begins from the inside, but then projects outwardly. Principles. We will talk a bit about principles, as we've probably have had me say over time, but I like to recount this, not just for the sake of repetition, but for emphasis and for to register it firmly on our minds. When we talk about principles, we are talking about the priority law or the first law. When we talk about paradigms, we're actually talking about our view, the way we see things. We're talking about our mentality. We're talking about our philosophy. And when we talk about habits, we're talking about repeated action, the order and pattern of actions that we have settled for. In other words, the thing that we have internalized and we have taken as our course of action. Now, I've deliberately written these things down because these are essential ingredients of personal leadership. So a personal leader, someone who is focused on personal leadership, has to think about principles, has to consider what his paradigms are, and has to look at what are my habits. You probably see that quote written by a man called Aristotle, a Greek philosopher who lived, I suppose, before Christ. So we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, or then, is not an act, but a habit. It's a lifestyle. So principles of personal leadership, I want us to register this as well. Number one, personal knowledge. Now, this, I'll put it to us that it's rooted in the knowledge of God and the understanding of our personal design and nature. In other words, you know, it was what the philosopher said in those days, said, "Oh man, know thyself." In other words, there can be no advancement in the journey of personal leadership without personal knowledge. As a matter of fact, everything in the world seems to know itself. The lion knows it's a lion, and so it roars and does not apologize. The giraffe knows that it's a giraffe, and it stretches out its neck without any form or sense of inhibition. Again, we talk about purpose, and this is beginning with the end in mind. In other words, men of purpose, they go to the end before they start the beginning. Incidentally, this is a nature that we were born with. We were created with this. We inherited this nature from God. God says, who is a God like me who knows the end from the beginning? That's why he calls himself the Alpha and the Omega. I mean, just as I stand in this place, I already know the end before I begin. So I'm never surprised. As a matter of fact, you are only surprised when you are ignorant of it, about the thing. So purpose talks to what you are and why you are. Then we talk about the concept of proactivity. Proactivity has its roots in our very nature, and that's our ability to initiate change, to write our own program, to say, to talk about a change that we intend to see. Is our ability to create. Is this concept or this nature is what makes is what gave birth to the great organization that we see these days. Is what battered the likes of Oracle, Microsoft, Mercedes, Volvo, and the rest of them. And I dare say that that activity is inside every one of us. It is the reason why you choose to take a course of study in the university. It's the reason why you say, I'm just going to have my bath. It can be as basic as that. Now, the concept of prioritization is a concept of putting first things first. Is a concept of order. What should be done first and what should follow. Then we'll talk again about personal value, which is understanding the boundaries of function. I'll say this way. Your mobile phone does not function inside water. There may be some which are designed to function inside water, but I would suggest that the one that you hold in your hand right now does not function inside water. If you are in doubt, just fill a small bowl of water and drop it in, and let's wait for 5 minutes. Then try to use it again. You don't need to be convinced. It's not designed to function inside water. And a few other things. The food that we eat, we take out of our cans, it says, no, it's not designed to be exposed for too long. So as you open it, pour into a bowl and keep it inside the refrigerator, or consume it within the first 3 days. So this talk about what keeps the integrity of a thing sacrosanct. Now, your gift is the container of your personal leadership significance. We're going to talk a bit more about this. I'm preempting myself at this time, but I'd like to just throw it in at this just now, and to say that if you look at the concept, say if I talk about a mango tree or an apple tree, the mango tree says, I am mango and I have mangoes. It's as simple as that. It's so basic that if we care to just draw back, retract from the concept in our mind and just look at it that way, I am this, and this is what I serve. This is what I have to present. That for me is the foundation of personal leadership. Now, let's talk briefly about the heart of a leader. Leadership is a manifestation of your personal philosophy. What do I mean by this? This is so deep and it has so much implications. Leadership is a manifestation of your personal philosophy. Your personal philosophy is what you believe deeply in your heart. It's something that guides everything that you do. Everything the way you view the world, your approach to people, your approach to things is determined by your philosophy. So leadership, therefore, is just a reflection of the attitude of your mind. Everything that your mind believes to be true. Your heart is the center, the nerve center, the kernel, the core of your mind. I like to talk about the heart in this sense. If you have a library and you have an institution, and then inside that institution you have a library that holds all the books that the education institution refers to. Now, that library is what I will compare to your mind, is to your heart, is the heart of the mind where all the knowledge that the mind believes to be true are stored. So philosophy, therefore, is the summation of the content of the heart. It's the outlook to life. It remains the same. I mean, life remains the same until your philosophy changes. Sometimes people in religious sector, they don't like to hear words like principles or philosophy because they attribute them to people who are ungodly. But I would suggest that we probably change our thinking, because the word philosophy is just any other word, like saying a car or a house, and it has a definite meaning. I say that we should possibly perhaps look at the meaning of words rather than associated meanings of the words. The meaning of the word tells us exactly what it is. Philosophy is a word that comes from philo and osophy. Philo means to love. Osophy, it means the study of thought. So, which means a philosopher, therefore, is someone who studies his thought, loves his thought, plays with his thoughts in his mind over and over again, and just hold on daily to his thoughts. So, philosophy, therefore, is the summation of all the thoughts of everything that we believe. For example, some people, when they go out of the day and they hit their foot against the stone, or they say, oh, this day, if it's the right foot, they say, mine, this day may not be that good, so let me return back to the house and say a quick prayer. Or all of those superstitions that we believe, those are philosophies. They are things that we believe. So let's keep it that simple. When we're talking about philosophy, we are simply talking about the things that we believe deeply in our heart. So your thinking is more important than your action. That is, all that you believe to be true is the source of everything that you do. Now, I captured this from a book I read recently, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And it says, I'm busy. I mentioned this the last time we gathered, and I just felt like just saying it again for the benefit of those who didn't capture it. I'm busy, really busy, but sometimes I wonder if what I'm doing will make any difference in the long run. I'd really like to think there was meaning in my life, that somehow things were different because I was here. When I was in the secondary school, my uncle told me something. He said, there are those who make the world better than they met it. This was a few decades ago now. And that word, just stuck in my mind. So I was thinking, oh, so you can make the world or an environment better than you met it. You can be an agent of change. You can make life more meaningful for people. So that was just to conclude our previous section before we dive into the heart of this presentation today. Today, I want to really stress very strongly on the power of your personal leadership gift. I believe that this is something that will literally change our outlook and really change our lives, because it's changing mine. And I believe that everyone who understands this deeply will literally move from where you are on your way towards where you want to be. Now, there are some misconceptions about leadership. And I'd like to submit that true leadership is not achieved through manipulation. True leadership is not gotten at the expense of others. True leadership has a price, and you can't become a leader without paying the price for it. Leadership, the true one. I like to say I'm qualifying leadership by the word true, because there are so many leaderships in the world, and there are quite a number of them that are not true. For example, there are some leaders who believe in destruction of people. Some of them killed over 1 million people, 6 million people. Well, if your leadership leads you to destroy people, it means that the philosophy that you have in your mind about people is not right. There's some people who will not give privileges to certain races of people because of what they think about them. So that's why I'm using the word true leaders. Now, and I also said is that true leadership is not really according to the Greek philosophy. There's so much to say about that. The Greeks have interesting beliefs. They have a word that's called charisma, which means gifting of the gods. Is the word where you have the word is the root word for what we call charismatic. Some people call some churches charismatic churches, and the word charisma, well, is actually a pagan word, which means gifting of the gods. Don't forget that the Greeks were polytheists. They had many gods. They had Zeus, they had Aphroditus, they had so many of them. You probably can research and get a few numbers among them. So these guys, they believe that if the gods have not appointed you and given you special gifts like blue eyes, pointed nose, fair skin, thin lips, and the rest of them, you are automatically disqualified from leadership. So that's why I'm saying that true leadership is not according to that philosophy. And you see, most of us, sometimes we come across people that seem to be very significant. They seem to be changing the world and doing a few things, and we are attracted to them. Now, that attraction is natural. It's only calling to something that is already in us. So the desire for leadership is natural, but there is a process to it. And that process is hopefully what we'll cover a bit of it in this section. Now let's look at leadership concepts. True leadership does not begin with people. That statement is something that one can ponder on for a few days. Most of us think that we tend to think that I'm a leader if 50 people are looking up to me and calling my name and running after me. If I can command 1,000 people at my beck and call, if I can just say a word and 1,000,000 people run to it, then maybe I'm a leader. If that were to be the case, then, well, you could argue that, yeah, that's some form of leadership. As a matter of fact, if your thoughts, your opinion, your ideas are so strong enough that a number of people are following them, then perhaps you are a leader of some sort. But it depends on whether you qualify, you meet the criteria that we define as true leadership. So, but I say that true leadership itself does not begin with people. You do not need people to make you a leader. It begins with yourself. And that's why I was alluding to the concept of personal leadership. It begins with yourself, and you will see exactly how this comes to be now. True leadership begins with a discovery, with meeting yourself. When you begin to know who you are and make discoveries about yourself, then you begin to throw away other opinions about you. So the first education that we should have should be an education about ourselves. The key to success is discovering your personal leadership gift. Okay, I'm throwing that word around a bit, but there's something that's called your personal leadership gift. We're going to talk about that a bit more, but I want us to get so familiar with these words, or to get them so ingrained in our psyche that it becomes natural. It becomes second of, let me use the word first nature, if there's any sort of thing to us. The leadership gift is the assignment, and that's how I want to define this. The leadership gift is the assignment everyone comes to the world with. So that's why I've said that there is no giftless individual or creature on the earth. And this is true. Just think about it. Look around you. Wherever you are, everything that is around you contains a gift. The gift is the primary custodian of the success and the significance of every living person. The leadership gift defines the identity of his career. Now, talking about this, talking about true leadership, personal leadership, all of this requires us to require some kind of paradigm shift, a rethinking of what we already held to be true. To become great in the kingdom, when I say kingdom now, that's another word that I need to be careful with, because that's a word that is so misconceived, most so bastardized that it's almost losing its meaning. But when I'm saying kingdom now, I'm talking about the kingdom of God as in a country. You must serve yourself to the world. Kingdom leadership, is another word for me. And when I'm talking, is another balance when I'm talking about the concept of leadership. Kingdom leadership principles, philosophies, and system is entirely different to the system of the world as we know it, the current style of leadership. The kingdom leadership race is one in which everyone wins by finishing their race. That's why you probably hear this word. For people who read the Bibles, the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor favor to men of skills, but time and chance happen to not one of them, to them all. Which means all have opportunities and time, and they all, by applying themselves, can win the race if only they care to do so. Now, the way we do racing here, if you look at the Olympics, you have only three steps on the rostrum, and it's only for the first, second, third. So we give them gold, we give them silver, and we give them bronze. And that this alludes to the fact that we think that only a few people can win. Not everybody can win, certainly. So now, God did not intend us to have an organization with a leader in that sense. I will explain this because this might sound a bit confusing. God, I'm talking about original precepts, did not intend a boss-subordinate relationship. What he had in his mind from the beginning is to have leaders and coordinator of leaders. So, for example, if someone is prominent among a few people, is at best a coordinator of leaders. Think about it. If for some of us who have attended, orchestra, maybe a symphony and all that, you see someone who stands in front of a group of instrumentalists, and he holds a piece of stick in his hands, and he begins to what? Conduct every other instrumentalist to play their tune. Now, he's not essentially their leader, he's a coordinator of those gifts. But each of those guys have a particular gifting on a particular instrument, and together they make an orchestra, something that not one person can make among them. They all make it together, and you hear something that is really melodious. Consider again that we're not only talking about the management of people, but we're actually talking about the coordination of gifts and resources. So now, when we're talking about servant leadership, what do we mean, and what are the likely benefits? When you discover your gift, the first thing that happens is you become authentic. Authenticity is what gives you authorization. Let me say something that's quite simple. I like to use simplistic terms to explain most of these things, because when you're talking about things that are so fundamental, things that have almost eternal significance, you should be looking to use earthly things, simple things. That's why the greatest master teacher, Jesus himself, he will talk about fishes, he will talk about wheat, he will talk about everyday things, because those things relate to eternal values. Now, look at a bird. Most of us have seen many birds before. A bird does not ask for permission to fly or to land. A bird simply lands anywhere. In fact, some birds will even poo on people while they're flying, and they do not stop to apologize. So, it's so interesting. Your authenticity, it gives you authorization to exhibit, to implement, to execute your gift. So if two of us are doing the same thing, it might mean that one of us is unnecessary. That's why, if you look at the way the way markets work, if you go into a shop and you say a few items display, usually when you go to the sales section, you will usually see things that looks the same, of the same quality, and they will say, okay, you can take two for one, because their worth reduces the more of them that you have. So therefore, it follows that to really exhibit your value, you need to differentiate yourself. And your differentiation is not something to invent, it's something to discover. It has to do with your gift. Leadership, therefore, is finding your original gift that makes you valuable to the world. And when you find your servant leadership gift, it gives you genuine confidence. There are things I've written here that I've made them as plain as possible. When you're talking about genuine confidence, this statement is so true. You can't pretend true greatness. Genuine confidence comes from authenticity. So it just means, therefore, the more you really succeed at becoming yourself, the more authentic you become. You don't need to manufacture confidence when you discover your authenticity. Most of us have not actually met, I don't know who's listening, but I want to suggest that we've not really met the true you. You are more than what you are showing so far. And this is so true. It's also true about me, because the more I'm realizing this, the more I'm saying that there's so much more that I have inside that unless I exhibit them, I'm just going to, the real me is yet to emerge. I think that's the key thing. So when are we really going to meet the real you? The more you hate yourself, the more you are at the mercy of others. So that's why you find that people who have inferiority complex, they're usually easy to manipulate by other people. So take note of this. When you find your gift and begin to exercise it with confidence, your confidence will be mistaken for arrogance. Why? Most people don't know themselves. And so when they find somebody who meets themselves, it's a shock on their system. And so they begin to think, this guy seems a bit arrogant. So insecurity cannot be in the presence of confidence without calling it arrogance. Just a thought, think about those things. Great people never try to be humble. The word humble actually means earthy, which means you are of the earth. You are in touch with the earth, with your true nature. You see, humans, as you understand it from scriptures, they come both from two places, from the earth and from God. God took man out of the earth, and then he put inside of him his own breath. So two people. So that's why when somebody dies, a part goes back to the earth and the other part goes back to God. So the word humility, therefore, it comes from from the root word humus, which means being in touch with your human nature, with your humanity. Servant leadership, therefore, is the source of your fulfillment. The result of servant leadership is intrinsic value. You begin to know that you have value in yourself. And so you begin to think that, wow, I think I'm capable of doing what I really want to do. You become valuable because of who you are and not because of what you do. I've taken a time to really script all this down, but just pay attention to those thoughts, and you probably will find them valuable. Finding yourself is the greatest discovery in the world, and serving yourself is the greatest service you can give to us. That's a missing bit in that statement. When you find your gift and you understand your uniqueness, you don't need to compete with other people. So true leaders, they simply seek others like them. Let me give you an example. I don't know where you live and where you're joining us from at this point, but I'm sure if you go into the shopping centers, you will find that the clothing, the fashion industry, you find that their stores are almost next to each other. So you find M&S, you find what are the others, Next, and the others, just in the same building, around the same place. It's amazing. They all want to sell their clothes. So shouldn't they give themselves some space so that you can say, "Oh, don't come near me. Don't take my market." No, they are so confident that they seek themselves and build their shops next to one another. The same thing with the eateries. If you go to McDonald's and to KFC and the rest of them, they build their stores very close to one another. Why do they do that? Each of them understand their their product and their value. KFC has its product that McDonald's don't have. The Big Mac is what McDonald's sells. They can have other things, but the Big Mac, that's the core of the product. And they know that in a million years, KFC cannot get the Big Mac. So that's why I say that true leaders seek others like them. You know, true leaders seek competition. They don't see it as competition, actually. They actually turn competition into co-opetition. That's the term I like us to keep in mind, which is cooperating or cohabiting with the competition. You can never threaten an original because you know your significance is the knowledge of your difference, the value of your difference. So uniqueness sets you free from competition, basically. And when you are attacking people and really, you're suspicious of people, you're afraid of them, I think it's probably proof of um, lack of security. So compare yourself to a bird or to a fish. No matter how good a swimmer you are, you cannot compete successfully with a bird, with a fish. No matter how well you can fly, no matter how well we make our aeroplanes, we still can't compete with the birds. Why? A bird is born to do it naturally. The aeroplane is invented to do it unnaturally. I've hardly ever seen a bird drop from the sky. It does happen, maybe, but and when it happens, there's no announcement to it because they are operating in their natural environment. So there is no comparison in servant leadership. That's one thing I think we should keep to mind. There is no comparison. It's not logical. Why should you compare a dove with an eagle? The dove knows its range and does not go beyond it. The eagle knows its range and confidently goes to the third heavens. So each one person is unique and different. So I'll say, this is my suggestion. You find your own unique selling point. See yourself as a product. You're a product. And if you're a product, what is it that will differentiate that product? There is no jealousy when you find your gift.
And it's proven over time. I've seen many businesses.
There is no competition when you find your gift. And there is no jealousy as well. There is no fear when you discover your gift. You are not afraid of pursuing your gift because you know that you have the inherent ability to do your assignment. So therefore, fear, is the most distant thing that to think about when you understand your gift. For example, there are so many examples around us. Look at the apple. The apple lives for one thing, just to produce its apples. And it keeps doing it season after season. It is totally unafraid to produce its gift. Why? The apple is the gift of the apple tree. The mango is the gift of the mango tree. So why should a mango tree try to produce an orange? Now, this is why I say that you cannot look at a different product and try to understand yourself through the eyes of that product. Let me put it in another sense. You do not need to look at another man and try to determine what you should do by looking at that person. Because in a million years, the mango can never become an orange. So I would suggest, therefore, that don't get off your core value. Stay with your gift. Find it and stay with it. Find it and stay with it. Now, environments change and things happen, life happens. So when that happens, what you should do is adapt your gift, but never change your gift. Make your gift relevant to environments, but keep it the same. So remain the same, but yet adaptable. I think that's the key. Build your value around your gift. Know what your core business is. Build your value around your gift and know what your core business is. Servant leadership is the source of internal motivation. You see, I was thinking about this a while ago, and I found that the reason why we need motivation is mostly because we're doing what we really don't like to do. Because if you're doing what you love to do, you don't need motivation. You wake up by yourself. You don't need alarm clock. Life wakes you up. You wake up and go to it because that is what you are born to do. It's so natural to do it. You don't feel tired when you're doing what you were born to do. When you discover your gift, you need no one to motivate you. When you find your gift, you find something that is more important than food. And that's important because sometimes we need to, I guess, save on our food sometimes. When you find your gift, you discover the power and the purpose of your time. You understand what you should be working at with your time and what you should be spending your energy on. Now let's talk now about, I've said so much about gift, and I think I'm getting towards the heart of it now. The leadership gift. Leadership is like a tree bearing its fruit. Leaders don't seek followers, but followers are attracted to the leaders. Why? It's the same way when what makes us go to a fruit tree. It's exactly the same. We are not going to the fruit tree because of the leaves or another thing. We are going strictly for the fruit. That's why the master teacher, Jesus, said, by their fruit you shall know them, because you identify every tree by the fruit that it bears. You identify every tree by the flower. For example, you know a rose by its particular flowers. The greatest thing that can happen to a tree is to bear its fruit. No more, no less. That's the greatest thing. That is the reason why if we plant a fruit tree in my dad's compound, we had a mango tree, and for years and years, this mango refused to bear fruits. At a point, there was temptation to cut it, but I think someone just said, "Let's just wait for a time," and then suddenly it started to produce. But I tell you something, the mango tree was on its way down. Someone was going to take the hacksaw and just saw it down. So when you find your gift, your fruit, then men will find you. They find you not for you, they find you for your gift. And I think this is where humility kicks in. When you know that people find you for your gift, then that keeps you humble and also keeps you walking, because you know that once you stop bearing your fruit, then the people cease and stop to find you. So the greatest mission, therefore, is to become a servant, not of people, but of your gift. To just keep busy bearing the fruit, because that's the reason why people find you in the first place. I'll repeat that. The greatest mission for us, really, is to become a servant, not of people, but of our gift. There is a man that comes to mind readily. The man Bill Gates. Bill Gates never, I'm not sure whether it happened, but I can't recall, it's not on record, that he went around canvassing for people to come and buy his products. All that he focused on was creating something that can run on every personal computer. And without announcement, without any strong marketing, that product is virtually something that nearly every household uses, one way or the other. Your mobile phone. Mr. Apple, Mr. Jobs, just decided to focus and create something that is so valuable. And in time, people began to queue. I mean, I've seen a few times when it's shown on TV, when people will queue, when a particular Apple product is released to the market, the queue will be so long, the competition so intense. Why? People are going after the gift of somebody. As a matter of fact, Apple will hardly know anyone's name among them. So people don't come for you actually. They come for you because of your gift. Now, what's the power of your gift? When you find, your gift has its own inherent power. It has its own a power that comes with it. When you find that gift and develop it, people submit not really to you, they submit to the power of your gift. Let me tell you how they submit to it. They come and they submit their monies to you and say, can I have one of your gifts? Imagine if you're a producer of mobile phones, say you are Mr. Nokia. People come to you and they submit the money they work hard for. They submit the money to you. Don't collect the money from them. No. They say, I would like to submit this money into your hands so that I can have your gift. And as a matter of fact, Mr. Nokia does not need to be present there for the people to submit their gift to him. So when you present your gift, people make room for you. And I can tell you something. In your pocket, at one point or the other, you have room for a mobile phone. That is the gift of some man in your pocket. Sometimes you keep it in your bag. Your laptop, you keep it in your bag. You make room. In fact, you create a space for it on your table. That is that man's gift. Finding room in your own space. What does that mean? If you decide, therefore, to locate what is really your gift and innovate it well enough, people somewhere that you don't even know will begin to make room. Your gift will be in their thoughts. Let me say it this way. Your gift begins to gain mind share and market share. Your gift begins to have real estate in the minds of people. So the development of your gift is your primary responsibility. You need no permission to develop your gift, because your gift is your authorization. You are authorized to develop your gift, just about the same way that the mango is authorized to bear mango fruit. I can't say it any simpler than this. Mango is authorized to bear mangoes. I mean, it's so simple. Your gift is the container of your fulfillment. And I've said this before, your significance and the wealth that you seek. Why do people go to the mango tree? Because of the mangoes. That's also what people take to the market. That's where they get the wealth that's possible from that gift. When you ignore your gift, naturally, men ignore you. Which means ignorance of your gift naturally attracts insignificance. What is your gift, therefore? We've talked so much about gift. I've tried to do some marketing around gift tonight. Your gift is the leadership assignment you came to earth with. Your gift is the most natural thing that you do. Your gift is the source of your greatest influence and authority. Your gift is your access to your desired place in life. Your gift is raw at the bat. It must be developed to have real influence. Your gift is your identity, just like a tree is identified by its fruit. When you discover it, you want nothing else. The apple tree wants to do nothing else other than to bear its apples. Your most important work in life is the development of your gift. Your gift may be natural or acquired. That leads me to talking about primary gifts. Primary gifts, these are gifts given from birth, natural gifts. Your primary gift is not what is acquired by formal education, no. Your primary gift is acquired by design. That's why at the beginning of this course, I spoke about design. Your primary gift is the container of your genius. exercising your natural gift is the greatest cure for stress. I'm reading through this statement, and I hope you'd catch some time to just replay them. Your primary gift requires lifelong exercise of it, which means you can't stop. The moment you stop bearing your primary gift, well, it's exit from life. Life derives its meaning to the extent that the primary gift is exercised. And retirement from a primary gift is retirement from life. Now, we don't just have natural gift, we also have acquired gift. And that's what I call secondary gift. These are acquired by learning or by skill. Secondary gifts are those supplied by external parties to you or to yours. Every gift is both primary and secondary at the same time. Think about the man Moses and Aaron. Moses, for your information, never spoke to Pharaoh. It was a stammerer. Everything that was said by Aaron. So Aaron had the gift of eloquence, which is supplied to Moses. Moses had the gift of meekness. And so that was his primary gift. Moses had eloquence that complemented Moses' gift of meekness. Secondary gifts complement primary gift. That's the point I'm trying to make. It is impossible to ignore the primary gift for the secondary gift. If you do, what you have constantly is dissatisfaction. Your secondary gift, they enhance the value of your primary gift. There's a typo there. Secondary gifts enhance the value of primary gift. Think about a tree and its shade. You go to a tree for its fruit, but you can also get shade from the sun. You don't go there primarily for the shade. Well, you can go there for the shade when it's not the time to bear fruit. So at that point, the tree is gaining value, market value still, by its secondary gift, which is the shade. So I would say innovate around your primary gift through your secondary gifts. Secondary gifts provide sustenance until the primary gift becomes mature. Principle of productivity. Your purpose is to deliver a product or a service. Now, you need a plan to deliver that product. Not only that, you need to create goals to help you measure the progress towards delivering and managing your product. I mean, if you like, you may refer to our previous discourse presentation on goal setting. You need passion to deliver your product. You need total persuasion, which we call faith, about your product. Because if you don't believe in your product, one, you can't market it, and other people won't believe in it either. You need perseverance and patience to birth your product. You need a team of people to deliver your product and service effectively with you. You need to protect your product. Your product and service has its market value. Now, when I'm talking about product, I'm talking about a gift that has gone through a process of innovation and has become something not raw, but it's gained an enhanced value that can be appreciated by the market. So your product and service has its market. So locate who and where your product is needed. And as a matter of fact, think about even yourself as a product and as a service. You must constantly innovate and adapt your product and service to changing market demands. Your product is a seed that is capable of global dominance. Your product needs promotion in the right quarters. The man Joseph, he was in the dungeon, but it so happened that he met someone in dungeon who had access to the palace, and the man in the palace promoted the gift, the product of Joseph. And so Joseph found his way out of the dungeon to become the prime minister of the land. Your product is unique, and we have a vacancy on earth until it is delivered. Your product is not for consumption. It is your vital contribution to the world. I'll round up in this section and talk about 10 ways to find your gift. Your deepest desire reveals what your gift is. Some people have a habit of saying, I'll wait until it is revealed to me in my dream. Well, you might get lucky, maybe, but I would say pay attention to your deepest desire. It talks about your gift. You are not born to solve every problem, but that one that keeps coming, that you want to do something about, you want to solve, pay attention to it. That is, as a matter of fact, I would say take an inventory. Take a piece of paper, and begin to write the things that you care most about. You know, we must become partners in our own success. And I would say document your desires. Maybe that's an action point for someone. Then your deepest passion reveals your gift. Document it. Write it down. The preoccupations of your heart reveal your gift. What your mind just can't get away from. For example, let me give an example. And I think I would imagine that this happens to a few of us. You are on your job, and as you're working on that computer, your mind just drifts away. You're thinking about something else. Well, keep an eye on that thing. Your anger reveals your gift. I'll say this. Don't think of a career, as it were. Think about your anger, because your anger has a season for its delivery. The man Moses went ahead of his time. He could not contain his anger. He released his anger at the wrong time. So he had to go into exile until the gestation period for mismanagement of anger was done with. And it was then, he then had access to come back and serve his anger. His anger obviously was against injustice. Your gift is what you constantly imagine. It just doesn't get away from your mind. Your gift is what you wish you could do for the world, for humanity. It's your recurring dreams. What you long to do for humanity. What brings you the greatest fulfillment? What would you rather be doing? What can you do without money? If you like to bake, if you like to make clothes, do it. As a matter of fact, practice the enhancements of that gift. And a point does come when the gift becomes so mature, perfected enough to put a market value, a commercial value on it. And I suppose at that time, you begin to realize it. A time comes when you can't just do it anymore without an additional incentive. That's when you need to put a commercial value on it. So this is just a short presentation on discovering your personal leadership gift. I invite you to leave comments or replay the presentation and perhaps refer to other presentation in the series. And this will bring our personal leadership series at this point to a close. We're starting a different series, and that's going to focus, I suppose, more on kingdom leadership. What is leadership from kingdom perspective? We're going to be talking about this, and it's going to really, it's going to lead to a lot of soul searching. You are great. It's just that you don't know your greatness yet. And your greatness has always been lying in you, just waiting until you look its way. God does something. God waits until you are really interested to show you who you really are. So I would say, get interested in really finding your gift. Your gift has always been with you. You don't need to invent it. It's always with you because you are born with it. And the moment you really take enough interest to find it, then you find out that what you are looking for has always been right by you. And then I suppose a journey begins from that point on. A journey of innovating it, of developing it, of refining it until it becomes something that every one of us is looking for. As a matter of fact, your gift is a solution to my problem. Your gift is a primary gift that I need to complement my own gift. And until you do it, you are denying me of something that is meant for me. Your gift is not yours. It is our property. And so I want to really charge you to say, bring it out. Stop denying us of what you are given to deliver to us. Think about it. There is no fruit tree that eats its fruit. The fruit is not for the tree, it's for those who will eat it. So don't let that gift go back to the soil without giving it to us, because it is ours. So thank you for listening, and I hope you replay and join us in a fortnight. I suppose from 2 weeks time, we're going to start having this on a weekly basis, so that because we have so much content to deliver. Thank you for listening, and this week will yet be the greatest week you've ever stepped into since the beginning of this year. God bless you.